Welcome to the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Around the Storage Block video blog. I'm your host, HPE storage guy Calvin Zito.
Today I have another InfoSight demo to share with you, and before I jump into this, I just want to give a shout out to Hans Larsson. He is an HPE storage ninja in Sweden, and he actually did this demo in Swedish. I saw it and said, hey, I'd really like to do this in an English version, so can you get me this? So big shout out to him for helping me get this done. So let's jump into this. I've logged into infosight.hpe.com portal. The features that I'll show are available to all customers that have a support contract on the products that are supported with InfoSight. Partners in the US can get access to this if your customers give you the rights to have visibility of their systems in InfoSight. And this could be very convenient for partners to help customers if they're having an issue or need to order something because, say, they're running out of storage capacity. We're only going to scratch the surface on what we'll show. I've told you about InfoSight in the past that we're collecting data from systems around the world, and that data is being fed into our predictive analytics engine to give the best recommendations that we can. Here's the dashboard, and you can see 3PAR, Store Once, Recovery Manager Central, and there's 5 different dashboards for Nimble storage. We can navigate directly to the infrastructure for the different products, and you can see what we can get access to. On the right side, you can see the virtualization section where we can get our cross-stack analytics, and I already did a demo of that recently, so you can check that out. One of the things that Nimble storage customers have benefited from is this resources menu. There are a ton of technical resources here, including software downloads, white papers, all kinds of stuff where you can get them in one place to make it easy to find documentation and other useful information. Let's look at the HPE Nimble Storage Capacity Dashboard. Lots of information here. I have an overview with the number of systems, the savings based on all the reduction technologies we use. I can also look at the capacity over time, and there are a number of systems I have in my environment. I can look at growth on an application level for 30, 60, and 90 days. I can look at the similar information at a volume level as well. Let's look at the operational dashboards. Here I can see the virtual machines from my environment, and I see the load for the last 24 hours. At a glance, I can see which VMs are using the most IOs and have the worst latency. I also have an overview of the status of the components. Here I can see that there's an issue with the power supply, and I'm not sure if it's the power supply itself or if it's the power to that supply. We provide performance metrics, pretty common for any array, but we're using our machine learning from all of our systems across the globe to try and pinpoint problems. So to demonstrate, we have a period of time where we know there were some issues. So I've selected that period I want to look at, and you can see I have IOPS and latency. What jumps out at me is the red bars. When I hover over them, I get a potential impact score that I'll zoom in on for a second so you can see it there. And you can see for this I/O, the impact was either 9 out of 10 or even 10 out of 10. This is functionality where we've looked at the characteristics of the load and can see we have a potential issue. We can have a high load out further in time, but it isn't causing an impact. Where it's red, we can see there's some high latency as well. And the fact is, this is a sequential workload that is more sensitive to latency. Let's navigate further into the volumes. On our systems, we can sort them by columns, by the names across the top. This is a summary. We can also look at space, performance, and protection that will let us know all about snapshots or replications. Let's look more at performance. We can see performance by volume over time, and we can look at IOPS or megabytes per second. We can divide it by random or sequential or reads and writes. You can see I'm given a heat map. We're looking at the IOPS for the volume over time. The darker the blue means the more IOPS. But what we want to look at is the latency. You can see with the red color, I'm having some high latency. I'm going to look at the volume named Nimble DS01, and it seems to have some latency issues now and then. We can either dive into the volume or we can look at the dashboard for labs. You can see lots of options here like planning replication or capacity recommendations. But let's look at the AI performance recommendations. David Wang showed us this in another demo, so I'll just briefly show you this. We're looking at the latency issues for this volume, so let's see what we can find out about it. We'll pick that same system in the same period of time I had before. For this analysis, I can look at the days of the week that I want to focus on. And I'm going to keep it at all of the days. I don't want to filter out any. And I also want to filter by my latency sensitivity, and for this we'll use high sensitivity. Takes a little bit to pull in the data from the system, so now we've done that so that we can do the analysis and apply our AI-driven performance recommendations. We'll see the performance metrics in the graph. We can zoom in to get more details. On the right, we're building a recommendation list that will tell us what kind of issues we might have. Here we see the cause of the issue on this volume, NIM-DS01, is because we have a QoS limit of 20 megabytes per second. Now we have to decide, do we want to keep this QoS limit in place, maybe because this workload or application is a high priority for us, or if we want to give it more, we can actually do that as well. Other type of recommendations could be, for example, to add some SSD cache to a hybrid array, or maybe you've maxed out your controllers and you should consider upgrading them. I'm going to skip showing you the cross-stack analytics in this demo because I have the other demo that focused on it. So let's look at 3-part systems and get a look at what you can get from them. If you've used Storefront Remote, this will look familiar as we've put these views into InfoSight. There's status information, status regarding performance load, and potentially important patches you may need to want to install. If I click on the view, you can see all types of different views I can get, including the cross-stack analytics, by clicking on the VM details. I've only shown you a few things in this demo. I'll continue to bring you more of these demos to show you what you can do with HPE InfoSight. To learn more about InfoSight, go to hpe.com/storage/InfoSight.
Always love hearing from you on Twitter, where you can find me as Calvin Zito. Our blog is at hpe.com/storage/blog. Until next time, thanks for joining me.